So I wanted to explain my understanding of there's a lot of people that are saying, bring back asylums, bring back poor farms. I'm one of them. We need to find different words for those because asylums and poor farms, they're gone for a reason. They were horrible in practice. They were horrible in execution. They were full of corruption and they were just bad altogether. And then like if you were rich enough, you could get anybody sent to the asylum for any reason back in the day if you paid enough money. So like they were bad. So we can't we have to do something about the homeless. We have to do something, and that includes giving them 3 hots and a cot. So we have to start from those basic necessities. Unfortunately, the most streamlined way to do that is through a form of like building, like an area, a complex, like an asylum or a poor farm is. Just run it differently, run it humanely. I don't know why any. That's why I'm saying we got to get new names other than poor farm and asylum, and I can't think of anything right now that you could possibly call it where people would be like, okay, now that makes sense because of how bad asylums and poor. But all you need is like a complex or a farm and a complex, and you just run it like transitional housing for parolees. So if you go to the poor farm, if you're homeless and you've been, busted three times because you're an aggravated offender and that's a felony. You've been busted 3 times for something and you're homeless and you have nowhere to go. You don't get released back on the street. You have to go to the poor farm. Same thing with if you're crazy and you get arrested on the street. You have to go to the asylum until they go, okay, this person isn't crazy anymore. They can go. But you fucking run them like transitional housing for parolees. Once you're in there, you can't leave until you have a job and safe, secure, permanent housing. While you're there, every day you get 8 hours a day to go out and look for a job. You have to be back at the end of the 8 hours. If you don't, a warrant goes out for your arrest and you go to big boy jail instead of just staying in the asylum or staying in the poor farm. The moment the warrant goes out for your arrest, you go to big boy jail because you can't be trusted to go out. If you don't have a job, if you get a job, you'll get more time out. You just run it like that. It's a big facility. You can't drink while you're there. You have to be sober. You have to get a job. You have to get a home, or you can't leave. You get the ability to, like, if you're one of those guys that's like every time you get 8 hours, a warrant goes out for your arrest. Like it'll get to the point where you're not allowed to leave. You have to earn 8 hours a week. You have to earn 8 hours a month at that point because you run away so much. Until you could be trusted to be able to go out, find a job, get a place to live, because it's for your betterment. You keep running away, you don't want to get better. The rest of society doesn't want to deal with you if you don't want to get better. Therefore, you stay in the asylum or you stay in the poor farm. And then you have to work that poor farm to pay for your stay at the poor farm. Meaning you have to have a job that you do, whether it's cook, whether it's work the farm, whether it's do the laundry. You will have a job in that complex that you have to do every day as well. It incentivizes you to get the fuck out. If you're working that hard there, get a job so you don't have to work there anymore. Save up so you don't have to live there anymore. If you're not capable of doing those two things, then you can't participate in society and you have to stay in that building. The only difference between the transitional housing for parolees and this is if parolees don't get their shit together, they still get kicked out of there the moment that their parole is over and they go back out on the streets. And the chances are they'll recidivize because they couldn't even get out of the transitional housing. They had to get kicked out of it. So chances are they're immediately going to commit crimes. They're going to go back to and it's just going to be a vicious cycle. The only way to break that cycle is to teach people the fucking value of $1. Teach people that earning things for yourself makes you feel better about yourself. Those people are welcome back in society. Yeah, I went to the asylum, but then I got like to the point where the doctor said I could go out 8 hours a day and find a job. And I found a job and I felt better about myself. And I was saving up money because I had to keep coming back to the asylum or the poor farm every day. And then after about 2 months of working, I'd saved up enough for first and last month's rent and a deposit. And I was able to get in my first apartment. And it was mine, and it was clean, and the walls were white, and the carpet was nice. And I hadn't seen anything like it in a long, long time. Man, that felt good, and that was mine. Now that I had a job in my own place, I was immediately released. I don't have to go back there anymore, and I could just live my life as I see fit. That's a success story. I don't care. I don't care if that only lasts 2 months. That's a success story. They paid rent and had a job for 2 months when before they weren't doing shit. And if they do backslide, they're just going to end up in that facility again. Now they know how to do it. Hopefully it'll go by faster for them. They'll get out quicker and stay out longer. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense to me. But I've been hit in the head a lot.